Workers' strike against the big three automakers is now shifting into slightly higher gear with an expansion of strike locations.
So far, local plant production is not affected directly, but some analysts feel that will likely change if the strike goes on. And as 2 on Your Side's Ron Plant says, now local dealers may be affected.
The UAW's targeted strike strategy moving beyond picket lines at 3 Midwest assembly plants over the past week to now include 38 GM and Stellantis parts distribution centers, one for Stellantis brands Chrysler and Jeep in downstate Tampa, New York. Local UAW leaders say no involvement so far for Tonawanda's GM engine plant, Lockport's GM components, and Hamburg's Ford stamping plant, but they're ready with practice pickets if called to, quote, stand up by fiery national president Shawn Fain.
We can and will go all out if our national leadership decides the companies aren't willing to move.
One local observer feels GM could soon feel the heat more so, especially at GM Powertrain with its 750-member workforce.
As the strikes escalate, it's likely to hit engine plants and transmission plants is probably the next phase.
Whatever the next direction for the strike, which so far has avoided profitable pickup assembly plants, Wheaton does think the new parts distribution strike element hits local GM and Stellantis dealers with potential customer impact.
So anyone who's ever had to go get their car fixed knows that the dealership doesn't sell parts at a loss. They make a pretty good penny on the parts that are there, and they don't keep any of them in stock. They always get them from the parts distribution centers, so that it's going to have an immediate impact on the customer, immediate impact on the profitability of those dealerships.
So a pressure tactic on GM corporate brass.
And it's going to put all of that pressure back on General Motors from their biggest customer, which is the dealerships.
One more point from Wheaton.
If you notice, they did not escalate at all at Ford because Ford is bargaining in good faith. Ford is increasing their offers.
Now, in fact, Ford worked out a deal for its over 5,000 Canadian UAW workers to avoid a strike in that country where some Hamburg stamping parts actually go, and some feel that Ford's contract bargaining progress may eventually be a template for GM and Stellantis down the road. But the UAW with GM and Stellantis said to be far apart negotiations. So far, no comment from local car dealerships we reached out to. On Your Side, Ron Plants, Channel 2 News.